In the town of Umwaku, there lived a young lady named Mbechi. People called her Madame Makeup because she never went out without painting her face. Her lipstick was always red like pepper, her eyelashes long like broom, and her face powdered until it looked like shining white chalk. Nobody in the village had ever seen Mbechi without makeup, not even her best friends. To many, she was a mystery and she loved it. Mbechi carried herself like a queen. She spoke fine English that made people clap their hands in surprise. "Can you people stop constituting nuisance in my presence?" she would shout at women in the market whenever they laughed too much. "If you don't have good facial structure like mine, kindly hide your faces," she would say, raising her chin. Because of her sharp tongue, she had turned herself into the village judge of beauty. Every gathering, every party, every wedding, she was there whispering and pointing fingers. "See that one, flat nose like a broken pot. Check that one, flat nyash like wall gecko. Look at her makeup is crying for help." People would laugh and gossip later, but none of them had the courage to face her because she spoke with too much confidence. One day at the village square, there was a big quarrel. The women were dancing and suddenly Mbechi shouted, excuse me, can we pause? This dance is too heavy for some of you with flat backs. You people are embarrassing the community." The music stopped. "Who are you calling flat back?" shouted Uju, one of the dancers. "If shoe is your size, kindly wear it," Mbechi replied, adjusting her wig and twisting her waist. The crowd burst into laughter, clapping and shouting, "Mbechi has wounded us today, oh." Uju rushed forward, trying to fight, but the villagers held her back. Meanwhile, Mbechi stood boldly, fanning herself with pride. As days passed, her gossip spread far and wide. She became both feared and admired. Some people wanted to be her friend just to avoid her mockery. Others secretly prayed for her downfall. But Mbechi didn't care. She believed she was the most beautiful girl alive. Her dream was to marry a rich, handsome man who would adore her flawless face and fine English. One evening, as the sun set, gossip filled the air. "Have you heard? Mbechi has found a husband." "Eh? Who is the man that wants to marry Madame Makeup?" "They say he is from the city, very rich and very handsome." The gossip spread like wildfire. Some laughed, some mocked, and others waited eagerly to see how it would end. Mbechi, hearing all the noise, walked proudly into the market, her heels clicking on the ground.
"Yes, my people, the Bible says he who finds a wife finds a good thing. And now, I, Mbechi, the crown of beauty, have been found."
The crowd cheered and laughed, but behind their smiles, everyone whispered, let us wait, something must happen. Makeup cannot cover truth forever." And so, the story of Mbechi's marriage began. The news of Mbechi's marriage became the hottest topic in Umwaku village. From the market square to the palm wine joint, from the well to the hair salon, everybody was talking. "Tai, this life no balance," said Mama Ifioma, a fish seller, shaking her head. "After all the insults she gave us, it is Ngachi that found a husband first." "Don't worry," replied Mama Obele, chewing groundnuts. "Let her enter the man's house first. Makeup cannot cook soup. One day, her true color will show." The women laughed so loudly that even passers-by stopped to listen. Meanwhile, Mbechi was moving around with her shoulders high, announcing her wedding like she was a queen preparing for coronation. She wore new wigs every week, bought loud earrings that could reflect sunlight, and painted her nails so sharp they looked like weapons. One afternoon, at the market, she saw a group of women selling gari. Without fear, she walked up to them and shouted, ladies, please don't disgrace yourselves. You are selling gari, but look at your faces. No powder, no foundation, nothing. Who will even price gari from you people looking like unfinished projects?" The women gasped. "Eh? So you are better than us because of pancake?" One of them shouted. "Yes," Mbechi replied boldly, "because beauty is not by flat nose and flat nyash. Beauty is by packaging. Look at me. I am an example of international standard." The whole market burst into laughter. Some clapped, some mocked, but Mbeti was satisfied. She walked away like a model on a runway. A week later, the long-awaited husband arrived from the city. His name was Kelechi, tall, handsome, and fair in complexion. He drove into the village with a shining car. The villagers gathered quickly, stretching their necks to see him. Some women whispered, this man fine oh, but does he know what is under that makeup? Kelechi stepped out of the car, wearing a sharp native outfit. Ndechi ran to him immediately, catwalking in her high heels. "My darling," she shouted in her fine English, hugging him tight. "My queen," Kelechi replied, smiling like a man in love. The crowd clapped and screamed. Some shouted congratulations, while others hissed quietly, saying, "Let us watch. The movie never starts." On the day of their introduction, Nbeti dressed like never before. Her face was layered with foundation so thick that even if rain fell, it would not move. Her eyelashes were long enough to sweep the ground, and her lips were red like ripe palm fruit. As she walked into the compound, the villagers began to whisper, "Chai, see Mbechi, she don't turn to Oyibo. She looks like bride price herself." The event was going smoothly until Kelechi's auntie, Nkiru, arrived. She was a sharp-tongued woman who feared nobody. She looked Mbechi up and down, then hissed, "Kelechi, this your wife-to-be. Has anybody in this family seen her without makeup? What if she is disguising?" The compound went silent. Everybody turned to look at Mbechi. Mbechi smiled proudly and replied in fine English, "My dearest auntie-in-law, beauty is not by bare face. Beauty is by presentation. And as you can see, I present myself as the epitome of excellence." The crowd roared with laughter. Some clapped for her boldness, but some whispered, this girl get mouth oh, but time will tell." That evening, gossip flew across the village. In Mama Esther's hair salon, women gathered to gist. "My sisters, did you hear what Mbechi told Kelechi's auntie?" "I heard oh," another replied. "This girl is too full of herself. Even if you look like yam, with makeup, she will think she's Miss World." They all burst into laughter. At the palm wine joint, the men too were talking. "Chai, that Mbechi girl na drama oh. Now only God go help that city boy. When makeup wash, he go see miracle." The men laughed so hard that palm wine almost poured out of their noses. As the wedding day drew closer, Mbechi's pride doubled. She walked about telling everyone, "Please, if you don't have the financial capacity to buy fine clothes, don't bother attending my wedding. I don't want my pictures to be polluted with fashion disaster." Some villagers were angry. "See this girl oh," shouted Uju, the dancer she once mocked. "Because she found one city man, she's now insulting all of us." But others laughed. "Leave her. After wedding night, truth will set all of us free." Mbachi did not care. She saw herself as the beauty queen of Umwaku. She believed her husband would never question her because she was already under her spell. But the villagers kept whispering, "Makeup is sweet, but water is stronger. One day, water will win." The long-awaited wedding day arrived. From the break of dawn, the village was buzzing like a festival ground. Women tied their best wrappers, men polished their shoes, and even people who were not invited sneaked in just to witness the drama they knew would happen. The church was decorated with white ribbons and flowers, and Mbechi made sure it looked like a city wedding. She had hired photographers from the city, dancers, and even a DJ that came with a loudspeaker that shook the village square. When it was time for her to walk into the church, Mbechi appeared like a goddess. Her gown sparkled so much that people shielded their eyes. Her face was painted to perfection, eyelashes long like mini broomsticks, and lips shining like engine oil. "Chai! Mbechi don't turn to angel oh," one woman whispered. "Angel! Abeg, na Angel Michael wey enter powder," another replied, and they both laughed, covering their mouths. The choir started singing, and Mbechi walked slowly, swaying her hips like a model on a runway. All the cameramen focused on her. She waved at the crowd, blowing kisses like she was Miss Nigella. Kelechi the groom stood at the altar smiling proudly, thinking he had found the most beautiful woman in the world. The villagers, however, exchanged suspicious glances, waiting patiently for water to reveal the truth. The pastor began the vows. "Do you, Kelechi, take Ngechi as your lawfully wedded wife?" "I do," Kelechi shouted with confidence. "Do you, Ngechi, take Kelechi as your lawfully wedded husband?" "Absolutely, positively, and irrevocably, I do," Ngechi replied in big grammar, lifting her chin high. The congregation clapped and laughed. Even the pastor paused for a second, trying to hide his smile. When it was time to kiss the bride, Ngechi leaned forward proudly. Some villagers whispered, "Let the man kiss makeup today. On wedding night, he will kiss reality." The kiss landed, the crowd cheered, and the marriage was sealed. After church, everyone moved to the reception ground. The DJ played loud music, food was served, drinks flowed, and Ngechi sat like a queen on her decorated chair beside her new husband. Soon, gossip started moving around like smoke. At one table, women whispered, see how she's behaving like she owns the whole world." "Abeg, allow her o. When the husband sees flat nose and flat nyash in original form, she go calm down." At another table, men were drinking palm wine and laughing. "I give this marriage 2 days," one said. "You dey generous. Me, I give am 1 night." Just when the party was heating up, Uju, the dancer Ngechi once mocked for having a flat back, got up to dance. She shook her waist with energy, and the crowd cheered her on. Ngechi, not wanting anyone to steal her shine, grabbed the microphone. Excuse me," she shouted. "This dance is not part of the wedding program. Please, I don't want distraction. If you don't have hips, don't try to disgrace my event." The crowd gasped. Uju froze for a moment, then dropped her wrapper and began dancing even harder. The crowd roared with laughter, clapping and shouting, "Go Uju, show her, show her." Uju shouted back, "Ngechi, today don't be your market oh. You are married already, let me shine small." Ngechi tried to reply, but the MC quickly collected the microphone to avoid a fight. The drama became the highlight of the party. By the end of the wedding, the whole village was buzzing with gossip. At Mama Ifeoma's shop, women gathered. "My sisters, did you see Betty insulting Uju at her own wedding?" "I saw it oh, she will not change. Her mouth is sharper than razor." They laughed so hard that one nearly dropped her tray of groundnuts. At the palm wine joint, the men were also talking. "Mark my words, this marriage will not last. When the husband discovers the true Ngechi, Another man raised his calabash of palm wine and said, "To the fastest divorce in history." They all burst out laughing, hitting their cups together. Evening came, and Ngechi and Kelechi entered their new house. The crowd had gone, the music had ended, and finally, they were alone. Ngechi removed her wedding gown slowly, still feeling like a queen. She stretched her hands and said in fine English, "My darling husband, tonight is the beginning of forever. You are privileged to behold my unmatched beauty in full glory." Kelechi smiled, nodding like a happy man. But then he said softly, "My love, please go and take your bath. Freshen up for me." Ngechi laughed proudly. "Of course, darling. Cleanliness is next to godliness. Let me impress you even more." She went into the bathroom, humming a love song as she bathed. But in her pride, she forgot one important thing. She washed her whole body except her face. When Betty stepped out of the bathroom that night, her towel wrapped around her body, her face bare for the first time, Kelechi's heart nearly stopped. The shining powder was gone. The red lipstick had washed away. The long eyelashes had fallen. What stood before him was not the queen of beauty he had married in the afternoon, but a woman with rough skin, a flat wide nose, and lips that looked nothing like the ones he had kissed earlier. Kelechi jumped up from the bed. "Blood of Abraham, Mbechi, is this you?" he shouted. Mbechi smiled proudly, thinking he was joking. "My darling husband, don't be surprised. This is called natural beauty. I decided to show you my raw version." Kelechi placed his 2 hands on his head. "Raw version? This is not raw. This is robbery." Mbechi dropped her tower dramatically, placing her hands on her waist. "Kelechi, please mind your language. I am the most beautiful woman in Umwaku. Ask anybody. They all admire me." Kelechi shook his head. "Which Umwaku? Those villagers that were laughing behind your back? My sister, they were waiting for this day. Look at your nose. It is as flat as grinding stone. Your face is rough like an unwashed pot. Mbechi, you deceived me." Mbechi's pride rose. She shouted in big grammar, "Young man, stop embarrassing me with your uncivilized commentarian. I am the epitome of elegance. You are lucky to have me." Kelechi clapped his hands in frustration. "Epitome of what? Woman, you are the epitome of fraud. You catfished me with makeup. This marriage cannot stand." By the next morning, news had already spread. Somehow, the story of what happened in Kelechi's bedroom leaked into the village like wildfire. At Mama Ifelma's shop, women were rolling on the ground with laughter. "Chai! Chai! They say Kelechi nearly fainted when he saw her real face. Eh, whoa! I knew it. Did I not say water is stronger than makeup?" At the palm wine joint, men were laughing so loudly the calabashes were shaking. "They say her nose was flat like a broken yam pounder," one shouted. Another man added, "Imagine the groom shouting 'Blood of Abraham' on his wedding night. Now fame way past Nollywood." The laughter was endless. Villagers gathered in small groups, mocking, gossiping, and shaking their heads. Kelechi could not hold himself. He stormed into the village square with his bags packed. The villagers followed, eager for drama. "I, Kelechi," he shouted, "have been deceived. The woman I married yesterday is not the same person standing in my house. She is a stranger. Her face by day is not her face by night." The crowd screamed, clapped, and laughed. Mbechi, hearing this, came running in her wig and heavy makeup, trying to defend herself. She marched to the center of the square and shouted in her fine English, "My people, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. I am a star. This man is just blind." But the villagers were not buying it. Uju, the dancer she once mocked, stepped forward. "Mbechi, you insulted all of us. You said I have flat back. You said some women have flat nose. Today, it is you we are seeing clearly. The mask has fallen." The crowd exploded with laughter. Some rolled on the ground, others clapped until their hands turned red. Kelechi raised his hand and announced, "From this moment, I divorce Mbechi. I cannot live with deceit. I want a woman, not a masquerader that paints her face every morning." The villagers shouted in agreement, "Yes, so let her go, let her go." Mbechi stood frozen, her pride finally cracking. She opened her mouth to speak, but no English came out. She stammered, I, and then burst into tears. For the first time, the proud makeup queen had no words. The lesson. That night, as she sat alone in her father's compound, Mbechi heard the laughter from different corners of the village. She finally realized the bitter truth. All her life, she had used makeup and big grammar to cover her insecurity. She mocked others to feel superior, but in the end, her pride had destroyed her. From that day, she learned a hard lesson. Makeup can decorate, but it cannot change the truth. Pride can lift you high, but it will also bring you down harder. Mocking others will always come back to mock you. Mbechi became quiet. No more loud gossip, no more insults, no more big grammar. She finally understood that true beauty is not in powder or lipstick, but in humility and character. And the whole village of Umwako never forgot the story of Mbechi, the proud makeup queen, the girl who was beautiful only until water came. The end.